Hello, all of you wannabe YouTubers. My name is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I'm not here to talk about crime. I'm not here to do crime scene analysis. That is what my channel is about, and so I suggest you don't bother to subscribe. This is a one-off video about how to be a YouTuber, or if you want to be a YouTuber, should you YouTube or should you not YouTube? To YouTube or not YouTube? That is the question. And so I'm not here for my regular folks. I'm sure they have no interest in well, how to be a YouTuber. So, but you are here, and I am going to tell you some truths that you're not going to get elsewhere. And the reason I'm doing this, it's kind of like a public service announcement, but having been a YouTuber for 3 years, I see so many people struggling with trying to make their YouTube channel succeed, getting nowhere, or thinking they're doing the wrong things, or wondering what's gone wrong. And they go around on the internet, especially YouTube, and they click in, type in how to make your YouTube channel successful. I see it on Reddit, I see it on Quora, everywhere. And then I see a whole bunch of people jump in telling them how fantastic they have done and how they can do it too. And they throw out a bunch of stuff, sometimes it's stuff that makes them look better than doing anything else useful. But there are people who are on YouTube. I've seen some of those who do have a YouTube channel about YouTube, who have fairly good suggestions, and they make a lot of money because people want to make money. So their YouTube channel may have 1 million or 2 million followers, and all they talk about is YouTube. And they have huge numbers of people coming because you're all hopefuls. You want to be YouTubers. And in that desire, you will go over and over to these channels. I'm sure I'm not going to get that kind of numbers watching this video today, and that's okay. I'm just doing this because I want to put one video out there that really does straight up tell the truth and help you evaluate for yourself whether you should continue with YouTube or you shouldn't. Because majority of you aren't going to be successful. I'm going to put that straight to you. You're not going to be successful. And I'll tell you all the reasons why, and then I'll tell you how you can possibly be one of the fortunate ones, but you have to evaluate whether you think you can do that or not. What is the number of YouTube channels today? 114 million YouTube channels. 95% of those 114 million YouTube channels do not make a penny. Only 5% make some money. And let me tell you, most of those 5% don't make a lot of money. They make, $100 a month, $200 a month. They're not making enough to make a living doing YouTube. And so it's a long game and it's a long shot. What are you willing to do to hang in is the question. And do you know if you should hang in? Because has anybody ever actually talked to you straight to help you evaluate? All right, so here's a simple example. I have a YouTube channel. My son has a YouTube channel. We've been doing this about the same amount of time, 3 years. He has 600 plus, a little over 600 subscribers, has not become monetized in 3 years. I have over 55,000 subscribers. I was monetized in 4 months. What's the difference? Well, I came in having done television for 15 years. I have 3,000 television appearances behind me. People knew who I was. And they also knew specific true crime cases that I worked on that they were extremely interested in. So I started out by doing 2 of the top true crime cases that I'd analyzed. And that brought in enough people to get my channel going. So I do earn a living, but I'm going to tell you, even though I am a criminal profiler of 2 decades, even though I've been on television for so much, most of those 2 decades, I barely make a living, barely. And there's reasons why I barely make it. It's because I'm 69 years old. I'm a female, and the style of stuff that I do is more educational, a little humorous, but more educational. I don't do gossip. I don't milk things. There's a lot of things I won't do. And because of that, I make way less than some people have no knowledge of criminal profiling or crime scene analysis. And they're talking about true crime cases. They're like 30 years old, sitting on their on their bed with some candles around them, and they're telling a story about a true crime case. And I look at that and think, oh my God, they got 100,000 views on that. I do the same thing, only they don't spend time researching. They might look at Wikipedia. They might watch another YouTube channel that talked about the case and just plagiarize it. I actually study things. I watch the documentaries, I read books. I go look at court documents, and I do my show. I might get 2,000 views, not 200,000 views. And yet I'm the professional. But that's part of YouTube. I do not reach the biggest group. I'm not a teenager or 20-year-old or 30-year-old's BFF. I don't do the kind of things that some people like. So I have to accept that I'm never probably going to have a channel that has 1 million subscribers. I will have maybe, I'm hoping over the next few years, I can improve my income, because it is tough to work for minimum wage. But I am lucky to be able to do YouTube and earn a living. And I am 69, so a lot of people have retired by my age. I'm able to do something that I really enjoy, and I'm able to teach and educate. And I can always hope it improves. My son has a political channel. He's very good at what he does. I'm not lying about that. He would say, "Oh, you're my mother. You say that." No, he's really good. But he can't seem to get the traction to get monetized and to move up. Now, will he at some point? Perhaps. But will it ever happen? I don't know. It's a long shot and a long game. And so for many of you who are starting out, first thing you have to ask yourself is, who am I? Literally, who am I? If I put my channel out among all those other millions, why should anybody watch my channel? Who am I to them? What do I bring to the table that all those other channels haven't already done? And that's a tricky one. Very, very tricky. And do I have any way to advertise outside of the YouTube algorithm? Do I have a lot of people on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever? Do I have a lot of people someplace else I can advertise? If the answer to that is no, who's going to look at your channel? Probably almost nobody. And the algorithm, you want to know how the algorithm works? Yeah, so do I. I haven't a clue how the freaking thing works. I've read this and that. I have no clue. Nobody really has a clue how it works. So I've had some videos do very well, and I've had some which I think are so good, and they're just like, you might as well throw that thing off a cliff. I'm like, man, I worked so hard on that, and why did nobody really see it? It's frustrating. So I don't know you're never going to figure out the algorithm. All you can do is put out content and hope it somehow gets seen at some point by more people than saw it yesterday. That's about it. And there's no real good explanation for it. So you can try to find out the truth. Oh no, you don't want to find out the truth. You want to find out the secret. I always talk about the truth, and people don't like that. They want the secret, because the secret gives them great hope. The truth sometimes is painful, shall we say. So I don't know how the algorithm works, and you will never know it either. So you have to put out content. So first you got to figure out, who are you to put out this content? What do you have special to bring to the table that will make people enjoy your videos? And you also have to, I say this is very important to me, you have to do what you like doing. I know I can make 10 times the amount of money. I know how to do it. I can turn my true crime channel, which is I don't tell stories, and I don't do gossip, and I don't look all, oh my God, and did you know it? Oh, it's so sad what happened to this girl. Or just, it's just so, I don't play that game. I am a criminal profiler. I analyze things. I say, look, hey, let's look at the evidence and see what the evidence tells us. I could make a lot more gossiping and putting on a sad face. I could. And telling just the story and getting people, I could make a lot more money. But this is not the life I want to live. I don't want to get in front of this camera and every show do something I hate. Do something that isn't me. Now, if you're willing to do something, you don't care about it really being something you like doing, and you don't mind suffering for the money, well, bully for you. I don't want to suffer for the money. But I also can say this. I don't have to suffer for the money. I've already raised my family. All right. I don't have to make I can now get away with making less money than I used to make in my life because I'm a single woman and I'm free and I don't have all those, the responsibilities I used to have. So I can get away with it. I have savings. So I have some sources of income that can support me not making a fortune on YouTube. Would I like to make more? Sure. But I can live with that. So when you're getting into YouTube and you have let's say you have a full-time job and you have a partner and you have a couple kids, well, you can't just quit your full-time job and go, I'm going to be a YouTuber. You're going to be divorced with maybe you're lucky to see those kids on the weekends, because you don't have any income. You can't do that. So maybe you keep your full-time job and you do this part-time and you hope that it'll click one day. That's smarter. Or maybe you're at a point in your life where you, as people would often like to say, you live in your mother's basement. It's not, you don't have to be overly ashamed about that. Sometimes there's times in our life when our families were willing to put us up so we can either go to college or we can become artists or whatever we want to do, or become YouTubers. Somebody's willing to let you stay there and not actually have to pay rent or pay a minimal rent. Well, lucky you. And if your family says, hey, we'll let you sit in the basement and you can give this a shot, that's fantastic. You can give it a shot and you can see if it works. Now, let me tell you something. When I started my channel, the reason I actually started the channel and could risk not making any money for a long time. By the way, 4 months I wasn't monetized. That was zero money for 4 months. Then I got monetized. I think over the next year I made I was up to like $300 a month. I finally got up like 6,000 subscribers. And somewhere along that way, I got a video that I wouldn't call it totally viral, but certainly was a whole lot better than the other ones. And I went from 6,000 to 10,000, and from 10,000 to 15,000 to 20,000. And it was very exciting. I finally saw traction. And then by the end of that year, I was making at least some money. Okay. Now, mind you, I also started Patreon. Half of my money comes from advertising, but the other half comes from Patreon. So if I'm still 3 years in, 55,000 subscribers, I would not be making minimum wage if I didn't have Patreon paying the other half. Only half of mine comes from advertising on YouTube. And that doesn't, let's say last month, and that would, what did I bring in? About 1,600 on YouTube. Now, I don't know about you, but for full-time work for $1,600 a month, that's $400 a week, $10 an hour. It's not great. So, as I say, I have other ways to survive. Lucky me. And I don't have a family I have to take care of. But going back to when I started this, right before COVID, I was working a different job. I worked 2 jobs. I was a criminal profiler, but also did medical sign language interpreting. I'd gone back to that when I'd left television, and I'm like, okay, I need to do other stuff. So I went back to an old career, and I happen to love that. So I was making about $70,000 a year for 3 years. And then COVID hit, and that was the end of my job. Now I was stuck home, and I was, getting unemployment. But because I was stuck in the house and couldn't work outside the house, and I have nothing to do anyway. Well, I homeschooled my granddaughter during that period of time. That was for free. But I then thought, what the heck? I can try YouTube. I'm not going to lose anything because I'm sitting here anyway. And that was why I was able to do it. Now, let's say I was actually making $70,000 a year still. Do you think I would have dumped the $70,000 a year to try YouTube? And then the first 4 months make no money? And then for the next year, make maybe $3,000 for the year? Heck no, I'm not an idiot. And you shouldn't be an idiot either. So you have to be able to do YouTube in a way that doesn't hurt you and destroy your life, because since it is a long shot, okay, and a long haul, you have to be realistic about it so that you live a good life and don't throw everything away on some crazy hope that you suddenly become a big YouTuber. Same thing I would say for actors, musicians, artists, authors, because you can work for years and years and years and never get anywhere. And it isn't because you're not good. You can be fabulous, but you're still not necessarily going to make it. I went out to Hollywood when I was 19 years old. I was really cute then. And I thought I was pretty hot and I could get a job modeling and I could get a job, get work in movies. And I found out when I arrived in Hollywood, I looked around and I saw 200 girls right there that looked just as good as me. And how was I different from them? I was pretty, they were pretty. And so it was so hard to get anywhere, and I refused to do the casting couch. So therefore, I left after years saying, well, that was an interesting experience. I give up because it wasn't going to work for me. And I have published books, but let me tell you, most people, you can write the next great American novel. You can't find an author. You can't get yourself a literary agent. Why? Because they don't know who you are. It helps to be connected. I've seen books come out and they're New York Times bestsellers and they're garbage. I read one chapter and think, oh my God, how did this get published? Well, they knew people in the industry. Maybe they worked in the industry. They worked for the New York Times for 20 years. They're with somebody. Other people, to try to get anybody to even look at your book is very, very difficult. I got my first book looked at because I was on television. I got my second book looked at because I was on television. I ended up with literary agent Jane Distel, who also sold President Barack Obama's book, because I was on television a lot. And she thought she could sell a book because I was well known. And I did make good money off that book. Other books, haven't been so lucky. I've self-published a book, a number of books. I've gotten very lucky on one self-published book and made good money. Others, So you can try the real publishing route. You can try self-publishing. And I by the way, if you go to my links below, I don't think it's on my links, but just go to Amazon and put in Pat Brown, and you will see a book I have there called The Truth, because I love the truth about book publishing and book publicity. 99 cents. I did that the same reason I'm doing this, to help people who are listening to a whole bunch of other people and they're spending money on programs or fake agents or I'm going to do a book tour for you for $20,000, all kinds of nonsense. And they just lose money. And I wrote a book that was truthful. Wasn't well received because a lot of people wanted that secret. And I didn't give them the secret, I gave them the truth. I'm giving you the truth so that you don't waste your life and also lose your mind wondering why you aren't doing well on YouTube and why you're not making it as a YouTuber. So that's first. So you got to look at who you are and what situation you're in. Do you have anything that's going to get people to, watch you for some reason? Like I was on television. My son was not on television. He's good at what he does, but he has trouble getting views because the algorithm hasn't been that kind to him. And he's very good. He's better than a lot of people I see with 1 million views. And I don't understand why they're getting it and he's not. I mean, I can't explain it. And I can't explain it for you either. So all you can do is do it. Now my son is working, so he's doing it as a part-time thing and he enjoys doing it. And he keeps telling me, Ma, it's okay. I'm not losing my mind if I'm not, if I haven't gotten monetized or being super successful. It hurts me because I think he should be. But I'm glad he's got a, good head on his shoulders. But you need to have that good head on your shoulders so you can evaluate. Should you continue? Should you not? If you do continue, how do you continue? So that you can still live a decent life and not get all depressed about you're not making it. So that's the most important thing right up front. Next, you got to look at a couple other things. One is what makes the difference. Again, the algorithm, I don't know how it works, so give up on that. Thumbnails. People talk about thumbnails all the time. Some people put together thumbnails with big, huge writing on them. They have all kinds of clever thumbnails. And I personally just have my own way of doing things. And maybe it's not the best, but I am not really great with editing and doing artsy things on that kind of stuff. I accept that. It may not help me. But like this video, not edited. None of my videos are edited except for like a huge error, and then I send it to my son to fix. I don't edit. Some people have very slick videos, and everybody loves that because it's so fancy and so, perfect and all that stuff. And then there's people like me who just do things straight. Some people don't like it because it's not as professional or, whatever, slick. Other people say, my gosh, I love it, Pat. I love the fact that you're real. I don't feel like you're a fake product. You can't please everybody. So that's something you need to learn right away. You cannot please everybody. Do what you like doing the way you want to do it. Figure out some kind of thumbnail system that you want to put up there. Sure, you can get some ideas. Don't get overstressed about it. I've seen some people with some pitiful thumbnails have 1 million subscribers. I've seen some people don't edit who look like they're in a basement and the lighting is terrible, and they have huge amount of views. And I'm like, all right. I've seen stupid people make a lot of money. I've seen smart people not make a lot of money. Again, I can't tell you why it works the way it does. A lot of people who come to YouTube, unfortunately, don't care about quality. So a lot of dumb stuff is on YouTube and it makes money. Okay. I guess that's good for some people. Some YouTubers, hey, you're going to rock it, because even if you make crap, people will like it. But I can't tell you what will work and what won't work. You can look at whatever genre and whatever kind of thing, channel you're going to have. You might want to look at channels that are similar and see which ones are successful and why. That's always a good idea. Get some ideas and then go for it. And don't do a video, and when it's not perfect, you take it down and keep taking down your videos. Now, I've never taken down a video. I just keep going. As a matter of fact, my first 2 videos I don't like very much, but they make me the most money. I'm like, darn it. I kind of, I want to pull them, but they're still making me money, so I'm going to leave them there. So do what you want to do. Don't over stress about it. Do it. You can always add things. Whether you're going to add lights above you. I have 3 lights here, and then I have problems with the glasses reflecting. I get the best camera I can, and it's not even, it's $100. I'm not willing to put the fancy camera up that costs $2,000. I'm not doing the huge fancy studio. This is a dining room table here. It's my dining room table. I got my computer in front of me, my laptop, and my lights. And I got a mic here, and I always hope the mic is working, and and it's not doing something weird. And I just go for it. Do that. And if you see a major problem when you're doing your videos, you go, whoa, that looked horrible. Well, fix that. Just don't over worry about every single thing, because you will get better as you go on anyway. And then you'll see whether it's worth it to you to keep doing it. So that's that's the most important things right there. As to just basically, can you become a YouTuber? Make sure you don't throw away your regular life and your income because you think you're going to become the next Mr. Beast. Probably you're not. But it doesn't mean you couldn't become a very good YouTuber and maybe a successful one who earns a living. And that might be something that's going to work out for you. And if it doesn't, you can do it part-time, or you can do it as a hobby, but just don't have unrealistic expectations. And don't believe everything out there that everybody's successful except you. No. Almost everybody on YouTube isn't successful. Of all those millions and millions and millions, hundreds of million channels. Now, what else about being a YouTuber? I want to talk about that. The next thing people are concerned about is the hate comments. Oh my God. I get so many hate comments, I can't tell you how many I get. And a lot of people get very demoralized by that. It's like a knife to the heart. Now, I've been in television a long time, so I'm kind of used to it. But as I get older, I get different kinds of hate comments. Like right now, I'm in an ugly, fat, old crone, crazy old grandma who is a fraud and a has-been and a psychopath. And versions of all of those things. People come in and say the nastiest things to me. Now, what do you do about that? Well, first of all, I just block people. I have a rule on my YouTube channel. It's my home. I don't have a problem with you having a difference of opinion, but having a difference of opinion is different than being rude. Once you're rude, you're gone. Lady, I think you're wrong. Block. Don't call me lady. That's rude. Don't say, I know you're a criminal profiler, but you're not very good at what you do. Block. There, you'll see it. When it comes in and it's nasty and mean and rude and meant to hurt you and meant to degrade you and meant to put you down, just block those suckers. Now, at a certain point, you can't block everybody. If you're a successful enough channel, I don't see half the crap that comes in now. That's insulting to me. So when I'm on YouTube Studio and if something comes in and I see it, I go, block. Now, they can still see your channel, but they just can't comment anymore. And don't feel bad about doing that. People go, well, you just can't handle criticism. No, I can't handle rude and obnoxious people like you, and I don't need you around. Thank you very much. Block. And guess what always happens when I block? My subscribers don't drop because they're not subscribing anyway. They don't like me. And if they don't like me, they don't need to be on my channel. So when people are rude to you, just block them. Get rid of them right away. If they're doing an interesting discussion where they say, that's very interesting what you have to say, but I'm curious about this, I think this, I'm okay with that. And occasionally I've had some reasonable criticism, something that might, like people say, Pat, you talk too fast. All right. I can't really deny that might be true. So then I say, thank you. I'll keep working on slowing down. And I don't block them. But it can be demoralizing. People will always tell you, and I've had people tell me this because I talk about this sometimes about the hate comments. Pat, don't let it bother you. Look, I've been around this many years. Believe me, I don't let it get me down. I don't let it destroy me. But let me tell you, especially for new people, it is demoralizing. It's hard to have people be mean to you, bully you, say terrible things about you, insult you in ways that they'll find every way they can to insult you. It's not easy to accept. So you're going to get that. And some of those people are psychopaths. They have personality disorders. They're little trolls sitting there wanting to get back at the world, and you're a part of it. And they can do it for free on YouTube. You have to recognize that's going to happen because that YouTube is open like that. So you have to deal with it. But I just say to you, don't take it to heart. Block the sons of guns. I really worked hard not saying, not swearing. Anyway, also, you can always block all comments. There is that option. You can just have no comments on this channel. Personally, I never like doing that because I don't like to feel like I'm in a cave and I have no interaction with the people that are coming to my channel. I like to be able to communicate. So I don't do that, but you can do that. That's a choice. Some people have made that choice. And here's a third choice you can do. Just never look at your comments. I've looked at, for example, Dr. Grande, who is a psychologist who has a very popular, super popular, and huge amount of subscribers. He doesn't block his comments, but I have never seen him respond to comments either. So I'm pretty sure he never looks at them. Now, some people who make a fortune, the other thing they can do is hire somebody to block out all the bad comments, so they always look like everybody loves them because they have somebody blocking out all the ones that hate them. And then, I can't say that would be bad because people they tend, if they read the comments and see it, they think, oh my God, you're so wonderful, you're so brilliant, you're so this. Hey, that inspires people to think that's true. If you have a lot of negative comments, you're a moron, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. Some people will fall into that, and it can affect your subscriber rate, affect people wanting to come to your channel, or even comment because it's so unpleasant. So I don't make enough money to pay somebody to block all the negative comments. But so you can either not read them at all, like Dr. Grande, I swear to God, probably does not, or you can have somebody read them for you and block all the bad ones, or you can just deal with it and block the people, whatever. But don't let that be something that destroys you. And if that does destroy you, you shouldn't be on YouTube. It's one of those things where maybe if it affects you too much, if you take it too much to heart, and you can't wake up in the morning now because those people said those things about you. You got to get out of the kitchen, shall we say. Just don't be there. I'm a criminal profiler, and I've read these books, and I don't know if it's just done for the books, but the profilers who've written books where they're like, I was inside the mind of the serial killer, and I could see the crimes happening, and it affected my mental health. And I'm like, why are you in this business then? If you can't look at crime scene photos and talk to suspects or whatever and not have it destroy you, you shouldn't be doing this work. I'm very good at doing that. I have no problem. I can compartmentalize. I'm looking at crime scene photos, and I don't let myself get all involved and all emotional. I do not have bad dreams at night. My dreams are great. I don't go to bed and have serial killers chasing me. If you have that happening to you, you're in the wrong business. So the same thing for YouTube. If it's going to affect your brain where you are now getting all bent out of shape and depressed over the way people are treating you, get out of here. It's not worth it. This is just one opportunity in life. There's many, many other opportunities. So you don't have to be involved in that. So those are the main things I would just want to tell you about. One is you just have to evaluate whether you have any chance of being successful. Be reasonable when you do shows. When you start your channel, be reasonable as far as how much you're putting into it and how much you're getting out of it, and not destroying your regular life until and unless you ever become successful at YouTube enough to make this a career. Otherwise, keep it as a part-time job. That's fine. And one day your part-time job, you never know. Sometimes there are people who said, they did this part-time thing, and one day they got this viral video and just shot them up so much that they were able to quit their day job. Well, that's cool. If that works for you, that's fine. I mean, you got lucky. So, and by the way, let me just say this. YouTube is a mixture of things, just like art and music and books and being an author and being an actor. It's a mixture of talent, opportunity, and luck. All of those play and hard work. Oh, let me not leave out hard work. I work my butt off at all of the jobs I've ever had. And that was one of the things that propelled me into being successful. Hard work. And a lot of people forget about hard work. When I started into medical sign language interpreting, I wasn't that good an interpreter. But I'll tell you what I was willing to do. Get up at 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of a snowstorm, go to a part of town where a lot of interpreters didn't want to go because of the crime rate. And when they texted, well, they didn't text me back then. Back then you got your pager, got a pager. I called immediately. They said, we need you at this hospital. I said, on the way. And I was out of that house in less than 10 minutes. Jumped up, brushed my teeth, threw on some clothes, didn't put makeup on, didn't do all that crap, jumped in a car and drove straight there. Arrived, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're here already. I sometimes worked 30 hours straight. I worked 3 days straight once. I was sleeping on x-ray tables and chairs and catching little cat naps because I couldn't find another interpreter to come in to replace me. And within a very short period of time, I became one of their top and favorite interpreters because I said yes. And I said yes immediately. They didn't have to wait. We called Pat and she didn't respond back for 30 minutes. No, just like that. And I became very successful because of that. When I got into television, the same thing. I was always responsive just like that. And so therefore, they're like, wow, she's so great. She's so cooperative. She's just so easy to work with. That makes a difference. I worked hard. And then I worked to learn, constantly learning, to improve myself, reading books, getting a higher degree, trying so many different things to be successful. Work, work, work. And as a YouTuber, I work hard as a YouTuber as well. So if you think you're just going to roll on in and not have to do much, you're wrong. You have to work very hard to achieve things. And then along with that, you also do have to have some level of talent and some luck. I got into television because I had never done television before, and it was a fairly new criminal profiler, and I had a new website up, which really sucked, by the way. It was terrible, but it was 1990, so wasn't that good. And but I forgot which channel, which network it was, but they had an expert coming in who bailed on them. And they went online. They were in Washington, D.C., so they went online and said, look, put in criminal profile, and came up with me. They called me and said, hey, Pat Brown, can you grab a taxi? Because usually they send you a limo. Can you grab a taxi and get down to the studio? Because we need you in the next, and do your makeup on the way because we won't have time to even take you in the makeup person. They had no idea who I was, whether I was any good, whether I could speak, whether I looked like aardvark. I mean, I didn't know what I was. So I got that taxi, jumped in it, did the makeup on the way, and I'm not good with it. But anyway, I went. And when I got down there, they were actually had the door open and they were leaning out with their hand. I think it was MSNBC. I swear, I think it's what it was because I know what studio it was. They were actually outside the building, holding their hand out, grabbed me by the hand, pulled me in, said to security, let her by without showing anything, and raced me up into the elevator, up to the studio, raced me into the studio, chucked the earpiece in my ear, mic'd me up. And then the next thing I heard was, hi, we're here with criminal profiler Pat Brown. And I said, well, happy to be here. I'd never done television before. And when I finished that show, I had a message. And the message was, you rock, you rock, you rock. And the next out, I did 3 different networks. And from that moment on, I did 3,000 appearances on TV because I was available, because I said yes. So always remember, it's the willingness to work. Now, if I sucked when I did the television thing, that would have been the end of my career right there. They would have gone. So you do have to have some level of talent. Now, I will say this. When you start your YouTube channel, you don't necessarily have to be the best you're ever going to be, because you're not going to be, because it's something new. You'll get better and better and better. So don't worry about the fact that you suck somewhat when you start out. Expect that. And even, you can be out here for years and you can have a video you think, oh my God, I sucked this time. So sometimes I have done videos when I'm not doing live. I do a lot of lives. This is a video. But I mean, if this really sucked that bad, and it may, I don't know. But if it does, then I can always just cancel the video and just redo it. But if I'm doing live, it's too late. But don't take yourself too seriously too. Have a sense of humor. I've done shows where in the middle of the show, I go, what the heck am I talking about? And I get away with it. Why? Just because I have a sense of humor. I had that problem on television as well. I mean, I was on Nancy Grace one day and she asked me what these people would do about the certain situation. And I said, I went to say something. I could not remember the noun. And this was not Alzheimer's. This was when I was 40. And I couldn't remember the noun. And I said, well, Nancy, they're going to get that long piece of paper and they're all going to put their names on it and they're going to send it off to the governor. And Nancy goes, you mean a petition, Pat? I'm like, that would be it. Pretty funny. Yeah. I was on television again the next day. So have a sense of humor. Understand that you're never going to be perfect. Do what you can do. But be reasonable. Yes, you can go to other YouTube channels and you can get ideas, but understand that a lot of times they're selling you more. They want you to come back to the channel another 50 times because that's how they make money. So they're always going to tell you something that may or may not be something that is really something that's going to make a difference to you. Some of them are good, but a lot of it times it's stuff that in reality you're not going to be successful with. And then you're going to wonder why you didn't. Well, I did what they said and I can't understand it. Okay. No, it's so much luck on YouTube. The algorithm is a monster no one understands. So all you can do is the best you can do. And just don't give yourself such a hard time, but do decide whether it's worth it. Because if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. It wasn't worth it for me to be an actress in California. I dumped that one. There are things that aren't worth doing. I stopped doing television because it became not worth it for a number of reasons. So I decided no longer to do television. And to this day, now that I have YouTube, sometimes I still get calls in from the television networks. Pat, can you do our show? And I'm like, what for? You don't want to pay me because you're not paying people because they're doing it out of their home on, Zoom. You don't want to pay me. I look like crap. And you're making money off of me. No, I'll just do my YouTube show. Thank you very much. Because at least my YouTube show makes me some money and you're willing to give me nothing. And I found that television doesn't really promote my YouTube channel very well anyway. So unless it's something I really want to speak about on national TV, I just don't do it. But that's my choice. People have different ways. Some people like to participate in other people's YouTube channels. I do not do that. I stick with my own. But you can do that. You could do television. You can do other people's YouTube channels. You can have a podcast that's somewhere else. You can do whatever you want. Just don't be so hard on yourself and think that It's so easy to be a YouTuber. It's not. It's very difficult to be a YouTuber. Oh, before I go, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about. Stress. YouTube can be a lot of stress. Why is that? It's because you always got to put out content. Constantly have to put out content. I have 2 live shows a week. I have a case show on the weekend, which is on in 25 minutes for me, so I got to finish this video. my weekend case show is usually on Sunday at 4 p.m. and it's 25 minutes to that. So I got to wrap this up. So I have a live show on the weekends, which I do an analysis of a particular case. I also have a hangout during the week where I talk about different news, crime news, and when it's not worth a big show, but I want to comment on these different issues. And then people ask me questions and I answer those during that time. So I do a hangout, 2 live shows a week. I usually do a video during the week too on some case that I don't want to do a whole 2 hours on. Maybe it's just a 20-minute thing. I want to talk about this particular case that's in the news or it just doesn't need 2 hours. So I do a video during the week. So generally speaking, I do three shows a week. That takes a lot. For me, it's a lot of research and a lot of time. And so you got to get it done. But the thing that happens is, once you're finished, I did my last hangout was Thursday at 3 p.m. I did my hangout. As soon as I finished my hangout at 3 p.m., I'm thinking, what am I going to do on Sunday? Oh my God, I haven't figured out the case yet. I have to have a case coming up. And so I have to figure out, people sending me all these ideas and what do I do? Which one? And then I have to start researching it. And then I go, oh, that one sucks. I can't do that. I have to find another one. Oh, that one's working. And so there's a lot of time spent in research and figuring out the show, what content you're going to put out. And while you're doing that, you're seeing comments coming in and you're having people email you. You're having people on Patreon. I have my patrons over there. I have a little community thing going there. I have to respond there. There's stuff coming in from all angles, a lot of pressure, and the time just clicks away. Now, some people don't have live shows. They just do videos, but the same problem. Let's say your show is about minimalist living. And you wake up one day and you go, I think I've said everything I could ever say. I don't know what other minimalist thing I can come up with. And you freak out. And you're like desperately trying to come up with a topic. For true crime, I have a pretty good area to work in because people keep getting murdered all the time. It makes it very simple for me. There's so many cases I can't even keep up with them. And it's international. I do cases from Australia and cases from the UK. I was just down in Puerto Rico last year, and I did a case that was a famous case out of Puerto Rico. I have that ability and that fortune. But sometimes when people are doing specific topics like politics, or they're doing art, they got to, or lifestyle living or travel, they constantly have to come up with, what am I going to do next? Where am I going to travel to? Okay, I'm in this town. I already went through this town. What new thing can I do in this town? Okay, I've done all these art things. Do I have any new art ideas? I mean, it's stressful, very stressful. And if you skip doing stuff, you can't just skip doing stuff. Then you lose your subscribers. The algorithm says bye-bye. You're not even around. And I don't understand the algorithm, but it's not a good thing to let your YouTube channel just disappear for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. You got to keep going. Now, I will tell you, there's an advantage with YouTube over regular life. For example, I was going to New York City with my daughter and my granddaughter. We left on a Wednesday and came back on a Sunday. Normally I do my hangouts on Wednesday or Thursday. Those days were out. I moved it to Tuesday night. Did it. I also did an extra video. And while I was up in New York City, got back to my hotel room on Thursday, I just went and I just threw my video up. I came back in time to do my Sunday show. But if I couldn't have made it back in time for Sunday, I would have moved my show to Monday. Hey, I have freedom with YouTube to do that. When I was in Puerto Rico, I was down there for a month. I still did all my shows out of Puerto Rico. I made sure I stayed in a place that had good internet. And although I was experiencing Puerto Rico and doing all the things you do in Puerto Rico, I still had my shows. So I was able to earn a living for the whole month I was in Puerto Rico. That's awesome. So you have a lot of freedom with YouTube, but you also have a lot of stress. and you just have to balance it out. Understand that you have to do that. So that's it. I'm going to go do my other show, my real channel. And again, if you're new to this channel and have no interest in true crime, don't bother subscribing, because you're just going to unsubscribe anyway. And you'll just, I'll go, oh, look, all these people love me. And then all of you will disappear and I'll go, oh, so sad. Just don't bother. But if you're a true crime person, yeah, still subscribe. But this YouTube thing is not, this YouTube, how to be a YouTuber, is not for my regular folks. So this is a one-off thing. I feel it here for all the YouTubers out there. I'm very fortunate to have found YouTube, and it works for me, and I'm thrilled. I have wonderful subscribers. I have wonderful patrons who support the channel. I like being able to do what I can do. I love being able to analyze crimes and have a place to share with people and to educate, especially detectives who are in the field or going into the field. So I'm very happy that I'm here, but I just know that so many of you out there are struggling. And just should I YouTube or shouldn't I YouTube? You know, should I even be a YouTuber? And what's the truth about that? This was the truth. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.